it's Casey. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're just going to discuss a few of the minor changes I made to my regular wig unit routine. There's only a few, so bear with me and we'll get through this pretty fast. So of course I'm taking my Alley Pearl hair, like you can see here, and it's just packaged so beautifully. I love this hair. It doesn't even look like AliExpress hair. I'm going to take my thread. I used a thicker thread. Then here's my frontal. It is not customized yet, but it is bleached. You're also going to want to have a fine tooth comb. You want to have a seam ripper just so you can correct any mistakes. And this is the dome cap I use. The mesh is the best. This is the first thing I changed in my method because the last whatever cap I used, it was just terrible. It was too tight, and girls, my head is big. So this is the second thing I changed. I lay my frontal about here, and I keep the band on because it helps keep it tight on my head, and I like to customize my frontal a certain way to where I can cut it back a little bit to make an actual hairline. So I want as much frontal to work with as possible. As you can see, this part of the frontal you want to leave unsewn. This is the section that is going to go over your ear, ladies, so you don't want to sew that. And you're going to do that on each side, and y'all see that I'm using these janky safety pins just because I couldn't find any T-pins, so bear with me. But here I'm showing you again, this is about how much hair you want to leave just untouched when you sew it down, because you want that hair to hang over your ear a little bit further than the actual frontal. I also just wanted to show you guys, if you were considering this hair, it does have a lot of gray hair, just as I said in my review for this hair. And if you see how the hair kind of like just goes back and does whatever it wants on the frontal, like I was just showing there. But these problems are really slight when this hair is inexpensive and it's very affordable, so it's stuff I could deal with. Again, I'm just showing you how much hair you should have left over unsewn for the ear flaps, about that much. And now we will just get into sewing the actual frontal down. Okay, so here I go through like the top part of the band, and I know a lot of people say like, don't go through the band, or you know, don't use the band in general, whatever, but this works for me, and it is like the best process that I found for wigs because it actually hugs your head and it's not like just flapping all around. So this is just what I use, and I'm going a little bit faster through this part because I feel like most of y'all already know how to sew down your frontal. If not, you can refer to my older video because this process has not changed, so I didn't really want to spend a lot of time on stuff that I do the same. So yeah, you're just going to get to the end of that, make sure you double knot it as I always do, and make sure you cut it and do another knot just so it's secure. And we're going to start to sew on our wefted hair. Of course, I start at the bottom of the dome mesh cap band just because I feel like this is going to make it hug on my head, and it works just fine for me, ladies. But if you don't like this process, please don't use it. But yeah, I'm just telling y'all, it does work a lot better, and I just like it a lot better, and I am like in love with this cap over like any of the like nets and stuff like that. I just said like 50 times. That's actually sad, but we're just gonna move on, and yeah, just keep sewing down your wefts. I'm gonna go pretty fast through this process because I really just wanted to show you guys that I start at the bottom of the dome mesh cap and I keep using that band because it works. And then you want to just connect right there by the end of where you started to sew the frontal, and yeah, y'all see where this is going. So I'm showing you here at the bottom, I do more tracks. I make my tracks a lot closer together so there's more hair at the bottom, and you don't want to do that old method like I've been doing where you go in like some half circle like that. No, you want to keep going around just like you're doing a sew-in. I was under the impression that you needed to circle things around, and it was just not cute. So this is the main point that I wanted to show you guys, how I'm sewing it different. Some tracks I'm not going all the way to the frontal and I'm just kind of sticking toward the middle, and here I kind of messed up, so it's looking real crazy. But once I get back on track, here we go. you see on this track that I didn't take it all the way to by the frontal. I kind of just started halfway in the middle because I want to get closer to the top without making it so bulky. You don't want it to be super bulky because it's just not cute. You want it to be as flat as possible, like a sew-in. And yes, girl, make sure you watch you some good reality TV. I'm watching, I think, Real Housewives of Potomac because they are so shady, and I just live for them old ladies. But yeah, make sure you do something like that to make the time go by so it's a lot easier. Anyway, you see with this one, I'm kind of like alternating. I went all the way to the frontal with this track, but other ones I don't, just because I don't want the sides to be super bulky, and I'm getting further and further away from the tracks now. Just because I'm kind of closer to the top, I'm making it a little more spaced out to where you can't really see any space, but there is some space so you don't have too many tracks to where your head is gonna kind of fold. If that made any sense at all. Again, here I'm just showing you how you want to space out your tracks just a little bit more closer to the top, just so it isn't so bulky and it lays flat as possible. If you're like me, you try on your wig like halfway through the process, but unlike me, you want to make sure you don't have any wrinkles in your wig cap because it does make the tracks a little bit looser. This is one part I did mess up on. Granted, it didn't really affect my wig, but it would just be a lot better if I was to make sure the wig cap was fully back on the wig head. But yeah, you see that I'm still kind of going in a slight curve motion, but nothing how like I was doing before. This is how I used to do it until it was all the way to the top in circles, but this is how you want to do it. You want to kind of in the middle of that semicircle go in straight parallel lines with the tracks like you see I'm doing here, and don't go all the way to the frontal. Just start by the tracks. And you guys see how I messed up a little bit with not making sure that the wig cap was all the way back on the wig head, so it just is making it a little more loose, but it's the same process essentially. I was being lazy. So just follow this pattern of going in between that semicircle and getting as close to the top as possible, and this is how you're going to close up your unit. Okay, so ladies, as you start to get closer to the top, you're going to kind of curve it a little bit more, but not to where it's in the circle, just enough to make it like a semi-circle to where you're getting very close to the edges of the frontal. After you put about one more under this one, you're going to take your last track and put it right at the end of the frontal, just as you would do in a sew-in. I know some people say you shouldn't do this, but if you lay your frontal right and make it go over this last track, you have no problem, and this closes it up the best to my knowledge. Again, this is just what I do, ladies, so you don't have to take all of these tips, but a couple of them worked for me, so I just thought, like, I know I need to share because this is the new way that I do my wigs, and when I do these wig reviews, I want them to be able to slay their hair just like I do mine. And yeah, if you guys like these tips, please try them out. Thanks again for watching. You guys have been so loyal and so awesome, and I really do love you guys. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below. I will try my best to answer. And yeah, let's give this video a huge thumbs up because look at how perfect this wig came out. Again, this is the AliPro hair, and this is some of the best AliExpress hair I had, ladies. So yes, get into it. Alright, bye guys.